Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me back on, Dana.
Of course. So the president, in his address, he was speaking to governors across the country, saying to not denigrate public employees. I don't think, Lieutenant Governor Kinder, I don't think that saying that people should have a choice as to whether or not they want to join a union, and if a state is broke, to make the point that everyone, even public sector employees, need to make some cuts. That doesn't sound like denigration.
No, it is not. It's far from it. It's straight talk. And what we need, and I think what a number of governors, newly elected governors, are providing is an adult conversation, and that's what the left seems not able to engage in. Now,
right.
Let's review that Governor Scott Walker in Wisconsin swept to an historic victory with 57%. He campaigned on the platform that he is now trying to implement. There was no concealing it. The public employee unions opposed his election and campaigned for his opponent. Not only did Governor Walker win that big win, but the entire existing political order was turned over in the once left liberal state of Wisconsin. Republicans won big majorities, 60% in both the House and the state Senate in Wisconsin.
Right.
They won two Democratic congressional seats and defeated a longtime liberal Senator Feingold. So the people registered a mandate barely over about 100 days ago.
Yeah.
And the question before us now, that we're all riveted watching Wisconsin the last 12 days, is, are we a self-governing republic under Constitution, or are we going to submit to mob rule in the streets?
That's an excellent point, and that's exactly what it is. The people's voices were made known on November 2nd, and it's not like Governor Walker or any of these other governors in any of these other states campaigned on a platform any different than the one which they're enacting right now. And he
could be accused of breaking faith with his promises if he did not.
Right, and that's exactly what
he's trying to do now.
And they would do that. It's a double-edged sword.
And Dana, I've got to tell you, I served 8 years in the minority in the Missouri Senate. In 1993, when I got there, Mel Carnahan was governor, and we had Democratic majority in the House, and I was one of 13 out of 34 Republican senators. And I spent 8 years trying to get the majority, but it never occurred to me, as I lost battle after battle in committee and on the floor of the Missouri Senate, it never occurred to me to flee to another state, and I would rather die than go to Kansas and still expect people to send me a paycheck.
Right.
What a disgraceful thing by the cowardly cut-and-run caucus in Wisconsin of Democrats.
It is. It's embarrassing, and it's costing the taxpayers there a lot of money.
And it is a threat to our constitutional form of government. You're supposed to show up, make your best argument, put your facts and fair argument on the table, and then have a vote.
Yes. Does it strike you as odd at all when you hear the president make remarks about the public sector employees and say, when he was campaigning in 2007, he had said, if anyone tries to attack your right to organize, I'm going to put on a pair of comfortable shoes and go out there and walk that picket line with you. But in reality, and this point has been made by a lot of people, including Ed Morrissey over at Hot Air, the president really presides over one of the biggest right to work unions because of the government employees in the country, but no one draws that distinction.
Yes, Governor Walker made the point in a tweet I saw today that federal employees have no collective bargaining rights. Why doesn't the president tend to his own knitting? The man who's presiding over a catastrophically unbalanced budget wants to tell Wisconsin how to balance theirs when they're going to balance it one way or another. But the feds are not. What's his budget deficit this year? 1.3, or is it over 1.4 trillion?
Right. Yeah, I think it's close to 1.4.
40% of every dollar. Now let's be straight about what public employee collective bargaining is. It is an attempt to launder the taxpayers' money into the pockets of Democratic campaigners and office holders. This is literally that 98% of their money goes to Democratic office holders who then surrender at the bargaining table, putting up no fight at all. And who's the loser? Who picks up the tab at that bargaining table?
taxpayer.
The taxpayer.
Absolutely.
This is, an analogy would be if the shareholders of General Motors or Walmart allowed a union to take over the company and elect the president, the CEO, and the board members of the company, and then submit to negotiations with them after they had elected their own people. This is an assault on taxpayers and on fiscal sanity. And thank goodness that in Wisconsin a star is born in Governor Walker, who is resolute, and he is going to win this confrontation.
Absolutely, and that point too is it's unbelievable, especially when you consider the DNC and OFA, Organizing for America, were enormously responsible for organizing the protests that kickstarted everything.
I don't think there's any question this was hatched in White House war rooms and at the DNC, and it is not turning out the way they thought it would. I think their attempt to turn out many tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands for their rallies on Saturday was a flop. Even though they were renting the buses and paying people to show up, I saw something today that they barely had 50,000 in all 50 states at all their rallies.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So when you run for governor, sir, this is something I'm sure that's going to be at the forefront of your campaign and your mind.
It is indeed maintaining fiscal sanity in our state, and that means standing up to the spenders, standing up to those who propose to loot the taxpayers' wallets, and with all their schemes, whether it's health control law, as you call it, which is filled with Bernie Madoff accounts. We put poor old Bernie Madoff in the penitentiary for 155 years for the kind of fraud that is embedded in that bill.
Right.
That's why I'm fighting it, Dana.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder of Missouri, thank you very much for your actions, your words, all that you do. We love having you on, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks so much, Dana. We're excited about your success.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon. That's Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, Missouri.